A man who lived like a king, but left behind a trail of chaos, unpaid debts, and shattered trust. This is a story of greed, luxury, and betrayal. We're talking about Vijay Mallya, a man once hailed as the king of good times, but whose name is now associated with one of the biggest financial scandals in Indian history. You won't believe how deep this rabbit hole goes. Hey everyone, welcome back to Gem TV. Today we're diving into the tale of Vijay Mallya, a man who had everything but lost it all in one of India's largest bank frauds. Stick with me, and I promise, you won't want to miss a second of this. Now, imagine this, a billionaire with private jets, yachts, and mansions across the globe. A man known as the king of good times, who partied in style while the rest of the world watched in awe. It was all a show though, and the truth? His empire, built on borrowed money, came crashing down, leaving behind an incredible mess. But how did it happen? How did Mallya go from being the face of luxury to becoming a fugitive? Where is he now, and will he ever face justice for his crimes? Let's break it down. Vijay Mallya was no ordinary businessman. He didn't just inherit United Breweries from his father. He transformed it into an empire. His flagship product, Kingfisher beer, became synonymous with celebration. Weddings, parties, festivals. If it was a special occasion, you could bet there was Kingfisher in hand. But Mallya wasn't content with just being the king of beer. No, he wanted to carve out a legacy that would put him on the map as a mogul of the skies. So, in 2005, he launched Kingfisher Airlines, a luxury airline that promised to revolutionize air travel in India. It was glamorous, it was stylish, and it was his dream. For a brief time, it seemed like Mallya could do no wrong. The airline had the attention of the rich and famous. It had the marketing. It had the luxury. It even had Mallya himself at the helm, waving the flag of success. But what nobody could see was the massive financial hole forming underneath. Behind all the glamour, Kingfisher Airlines was bleeding money, fast. Instead of cutting his losses, Mallya did what many would consider reckless. He borrowed, and boy, did he borrow big. He convinced Indian banks to lend him over 9,000 crore rupees, that's more than $1 billion, for his airline. Why? Well, the banks didn't question him. They saw the yachts, the parties, the mansions, and thought, this guy knows what he's doing. He's bigger than life itself. He can pull this off. The banks didn't realize they were being sold a lie. The money didn't go into rescuing Kingfisher Airlines. It went into Mallya's extravagant lifestyle. Private yachts in the Mediterranean, grand mansions around the world, and endless parties. All of this was funded by the money he borrowed from banks. As the airline crumbled, Mallya's good times never stopped. He partied while his empire was falling apart. By 2012, the inevitable happened. Kingfisher Airlines shut down. The people who worked for it were left unpaid. Thousands of employees found themselves jobless and without severance. The banks, which had loaned him billions, were stuck holding worthless bad loans, and Mallya, he wasn't concerned. He had bigger plans. While the debts piled up, Mallya was already planning his escape. But he didn't just lose a company. He shattered trust. Trust in India's banking system, trust from the public, and trust from the employees who looked up to him. This wasn't just a financial crash. It was a betrayal of everything that was promised. In 2016, as Indian authorities closed in, Mallya made a move that would seal his legacy. He fled the country, leaving behind mountains of debt, unpaid employees, and a shattered system. He hopped onto a flight and took refuge in the UK, where he could live without facing the consequences of his actions. Meanwhile, India's banks and taxpayers were left to pick up the pieces. Over 9,000 crore rupees was now unaccounted for. This wasn't just about money. It was about an entire system that had been taken for a ride by a man who had been so good at fooling everyone with his charm, image, and power. Now, here's the twist. While India was fighting to get its money back, Mallya was living the high life in London. Yes, you heard that right. While the country struggled to recover, Mallya was sipping champagne in his mansion, living like a king once again. It was almost like he was untouchable. But here's the thing. He wasn't out of the woods just yet. In 2019, India declared Mallya a fugitive economic offender. The Indian government immediately requested his extradition from the UK. And while the battle for justice rages on, there's still the big question. Will Mallya ever face the consequences for what he did? It's incredibly frustrating, isn't it? 9,000 crore rupees. That's enough money to build schools, hospitals, and provide infrastructure to millions of people. But instead, it went into the pockets of someone who didn't need it. It went into luxury yachts, high-end cars, and palatial homes. While ordinary citizens struggled to make ends meet, Vijay Mallya continued to live the good life, unaffected by the damage he caused. The worst part? The system let him get away with it for far too long. The banks never questioned him. The government couldn't stop him. And in the end, he had the audacity to escape, leaving behind a country to pick up the pieces. Vijay Mallya's story isn't just a tale of a man's greed, it's a warning of how unchecked power, corruption, and greed can break down an entire system. This is about accountability, about ensuring that those who take advantage of the system face the consequences. What do you think? Should India push harder to bring Mallya to justice? Is he just another rich guy who thinks he can get away with it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If this story shocked you, give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Gem TV. Because here at Gem TV, every gem you uncover shines with knowledge that could change your perspective.